All right, video 3 is the Pythagorean theorem. We've done a little bit of Pythagorean theorem in class. We're going to get into more detail, and it's going to be a main topic of the video, so we're going to have to know how to do it. So our success criteria to start, what do you need to know by the end of the lesson? You need to be able to identify a hypotenuse and the legs. We're going to solve for the hypotenuse. We're going to solve for a leg, and then we're going to decide if we have three sides that create a right triangle. So as we know, Pythagorean theorem is given to you. All right, it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Very, very important. These two numbers are legs. This is the only one that matters. It's the hypotenuse. You have to know how to identify the hypotenuse of a right triangle. All right, so we're going to jump right into some examples, and I'll go over how to figure out which numbers go where. So solving for the length of c. All right, so we're going to solve for this segment right here. Now, how do I know that I can use a Pythagorean theorem? So I know I can use a Pythagorean theorem because I have this right angle. Pythagorean theorem will only work in right triangles. All right, so I know that since this is the right angle, the side that's across from it is my hypotenuse, which makes these both legs. All right, so I set up my formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I know the first thing I like to fill in is the c. And look at that, it's actually a c, so we're just going to leave it as c squared. And then the other two numbers, doesn't matter what order they go in, but what matters is that you use them both, okay, and the hypotenuse goes in where c is. So we know 4 squared is 16, and 6 squared is 36, and we have c squared is what's left. So 16 plus 36, I believe, is 52. Equals c squared. Square root both sides to get c by itself. Get c equals the square root of 52. Now, what we'd want to do with that square root of 52 is, if possible, we're going to want to break it down. So with the square root of 52, we're going to see if there's a perfect square that goes into 52. So we know, using our calculator, square root of 52, we can break down with the square root of 4, the square root of 13. Square root of 4 is 2, so the answer here would be 2 radical 13 equals c. That would be in simplest radical form. If it didn't specify, or if it was a multiple choice question, you get away with this and figuring out the decimals. But if it's a short answer question and it does say in simplest radical form, that's what you're going to want to use. All right, now next example. So next example, we see we have an x this time, which doesn't really matter, still a variable, and I know I can use Pythagorean theorem because I have the right angle here. All right, very, very important is to start with your formula and figure out where the numbers go, because if you start by putting the numbers in the wrong spot, it's not going to come out right. So first thing I like to fill in is 26 is my hypotenuse, so I'm going to make sure that that goes in for c squared. Then my 24 I'm going to put in for my a, and my x for my b. So remember, the a and b don't matter the order, just make sure that the hypotenuse goes where the c goes. That is the most important thing. All right, so now we're going to do our algebra to clean us up here. We're going to do 24 times 24, it's 576. Please use your calculator for this. And 26 squared is 676. All right, what we're going to do from here is subtract 576 from both sides. Let's see if I'm running out of room or if I got to work on the side. We're okay. All right, so we're going to subtract x squared equals, we have 676 minus 576. We get 100. We get the square root of 100. X equals 10. That one was much nicer. We didn't have to simplify in radicals. Sometimes that'll work out. That's nice. But whenever possible, use your calculator. It's going to make things easy for you. All right, so if you notice these two examples, just want to flip back here, is this one we're solving for the hypotenuse, so my variable goes where the c is, and in this one we're solving for a leg, so my variable is going to be in either the a or the b spot. So make sure that you do the hypotenuse first. That is going to be the most important part of the formula to make sure that you get it right. All right, the last type of question that they can ask is, can you determine if the numbers 3, 4, and 5 can make up a right triangle? Meaning, is this angle right here a right angle? And how do we know? Well, in the beginning of the video, I told you that this Pythagorean theorem will only work in right triangles. So if these three numbers work in the Pythagorean theorem, then they must make up a right triangle. But now you might ask, how do I know which one the hypotenuse is if there's no right angle to judge on? We've also talked about the hypotenuse being the largest side. So since 5 is the largest number, we can put that in for C. And again, the 3 and the 4 don't really matter. If this equation works out to be true, we have a right triangle. If it doesn't work out to be true, then we don't have a right triangle. So we have 9 plus 16 equals 25. And I simplify as 25 equals 25. So to answer my question, is the following a right triangle? I can say, yes, it is. And those are the three types of questions that you're going to see for Pythagorean theorem. All right. Any new vocabulary words, make sure you list. Quick summary. Any questions that you have, and make sure you get the practice done so you can get ready for mastery check number 3.